deal, and this is for all of you guys, I guess. How do you deal with being scared?
I stopped looking
Different
into
ways.
things. I like burn some sage. I like try to watch something really
It
happy.
depends on how you mean scared.
It depends on what it is, for me at least. Like, I know, like Carolyn's not a spirit that's going to scare me. Ray's not a spirit that's going to scare me. Human spirits, typically, they're not going to scare me unless they start, like, pulling pranks on me, and then I have to be like, stop it. You're not messing with my lights, you're not messing with the electronics, you're not going to sit over here
Like,
and
give
touch me.
Give me a context of what
Don't
you mean,
touch
like,
me.
when you're scared.
I don't know, like,
You're nightmares sometimes.
when you see them.
Because you're startled, or because you're afraid that they're going to hurt you?
No, that scared the shit out of me before. When we were in that house together and our rods were like freaking out, and then that I don't remember his name. What's his name?
The kid who got in the car accident?
Yeah, that whole situation, and somebody had seen an apparition walking down the hallway, and they ran and were freaked out, and then I was freaked out because they were freaked out, and I was freaked out just sitting in the room with you, and it was just you and I. So we did this investigation where this kid had died in an accident. We went into the home, and the home actually used to be a funeral home. So all the bedrooms are like viewing rooms. There's like 2 rooms in a room. Kind of weird, right? Not like bad energy, because he did not want to go to the bedroom. So he invited his mom to sit in the bedroom and ask the questions. And that was a lot more calmer, because we're just strangers in the household. And that probably was one of like my freakier moments, because the rods were like, I was like, oh my God, he's pissed that I'm in this, like he's pissed that we're in here. Like don't sit on his bed, we're sitting on the floor. That's scary.
I
was fine.
I call them my holy shit moments, where it's just like, when something happens and you're just like, holy, it's just like, and until you have your first really good one, you're totally skeptical that any of this is true. Until you have something that just makes you change your entire belief system, and it's like, I know that you guys have been saying this, but this just happened, and my brain can't wrap around it, because I know it wasn't this, and I know it wasn't this, and I can't explain what it was. It's just like one of those. Literally, I was in this at one time it was a county poor farm, and it was an asylum, and it was a hospital, and it was just like a lot of different things over the years. And the place had only been closed for like 3 or 4 years, but it's in Edinburgh in Iowa. And we were over there, and we were in this basement. We were, what we thought was the basement. And then we walked around, and we were kind of looking at all the corners and like walking in these different rooms. So we walked around this one corner, and it was just like, then there was a whole like sub-basement that they had a boiler room and all that. And it was like, ooh, that's creepy. If I was a ghost, this is where I'd want to come hang out. So we went down there, literally standing in a basement on a concrete floor. And everybody on my team, everybody that we drove 6 hours with, is right there in front of me. I'm standing there, I can see them all. And behind me on a concrete floor, I hear boom, 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 like footsteps running up on me. And I felt the floor shaking. But I'm on a concrete floor, but it felt like I was on like high school risers. Like I was in the chorus and I was standing on risers and everything was vibrating, but I was on a concrete floor. And not only did I hear it, and not only did I feel it, every single person that was over there turned around and like stopped what they were doing, and all turned their heads and looked at the same time. And the meter started going off. And there's a thing that just showed up. There's like a little stick figure that showed up on the Connect. And Jason had the thermometer on me, the digital thermometer, and he's like, the left side of your body is like 12 degrees colder than the right side of your body. And I'm like, this arm is freezing, you guys. I'm like freaking out. It was just like one of those, the Obulus said run. Like we like got visual, like 7 different devices all freaked out at the same time.
Right, so how do you deal with the fear?
You just kind of.
I feel like sometimes.
But you know what?
To set your boundaries. Like I look at like when I get scared in situations, I have to decide: am I scared because I'm causing me to have my own thoughts, my own anxiety, or like I just have to remember, like, is there anything here that can harm me? No. I mean, sometimes we get physically harmed, but you also have to set your boundaries ahead of time of like going into an investigation. Like, I'm here, I'm like, you can set your boundaries. I'm here, I'm only here to talk to positive entities and positive spirits and positive messages. You cannot touch me, you cannot follow me, you cannot come home with me. If you're going to interact with me, this is the only way that I want you to interact with me. This is what I'm accepting. If you're not going to respect that boundary, I'm done. We're not communicating. I'm not going to listen and sit here and do those things. I don't know, that helps me. Sometimes I scare my own self in certain environments.
Even as much as I like hate the Catholic Church right now, I still have like a very Catholic background base. So when things happen, my first thought is, holy shit, what the hell was that? My second thought is,
can we explain it?
Yeah, it's like, what was that? Hold on for a second. And my brain's trying to figure out what it was. And then all of a sudden it jumps to, you can't pick up and run away. You drove all this way to have this experience, and now this experience is here. And don't be a little bitch, baby. This is what you came here for.
Right,
you know?
I feel like you can use that environment.
That's how my brain goes. And then my next thing is, you know, am I in danger? Is this something that can hurt me, or is this something that I said, if you're here, make a noise? It just made a noise. Now I'm going to be mad at it for doing what I asked it to do. It's trying to get my attention. Fine, you got my attention. What do you want to do? Are you trying to hurt me? Or are you just trying? So it's like my brain just starts going through. But at the basic core of it all, I go back to when I start getting really freaked out. I have a crucifix that my uncle went to medical school in Italy, so he bought me like a crystal rosary at the Vatican, and went to a mass with the Pope and and held it up at the mass. So when they said whatever, when he does the mass blessing, he blessed my rosary, and he's my godfather, so he gave it to me at my baptism. So I've had it my whole life, and my daughter brought it to her first communion, so it's something that I've always had. So I bring that when I go to like dark places. I bring it and I wear it. And when we've been to Velisca a lot of times, when things start getting really dark and like my kid starts getting scared, I pull it out and it's like, I don't care if you believe it or not, I will feel better if you wear this right now. So you just put this on, and then I call on St. Michael, and then I squirt her with holy water, and I'm just like, you stay out here, you are protected now. I'm going to go in there, and if you want to come and scare me, you can do whatever you want. But if you go near my head, if you go near my kid, I swear to God, I will invoke the wrath of God on you. You can hear me on some of our audio from these trips. When I get scared, it's not even scared for me, it's scared for the people around me. I turn mama bear and I freak out. I start yelling at it. You are not allowed to do this. You do not have power here. By the power of God, you are not. And I pull out the big guns.
I feel like I normally say Our Father and imagine like a white light, and I'll burn some sage or hold on to some blessed crystals and things.
I have St. Michael on my side, and there's nothing
that
can do.
Can't stop repeating it, and then I'm like, okay, we're good. I feel better. Sometimes I feel like you just have to hone in on what the energy is. Like if it gets negative and you're getting scared of it, I feel like you can. I mentally just feel like I deflect it, because I feel like the important thing, I feel like we say this a lot, don't absorb it. Mm-hmm. You're just noting it. Yeah, observe it, don't absorb it, because once you start absorbing, it's in you now. If you're going to accept the negative and the fear and things like that, that's what you're going to get.
I know for a fact that all the three of us,
just imagine reflecting
multiple times, when we get things, when we get answers to questions or very specific things, or lights go off, we'll all laugh. It was just we'll be sitting over here and emotional light will go off or something will happen. And it was did you see that? That just did this.
It's different signs.
You were doing the rods. You were doing the rods, and it was doing something. The answer was Ashley, and your rods turned around and pointed right at Ashley. And you're like, I guess it's Ashley. And little coincidental things like that happen, and you just kind of okay, you're kind of clever. You're funny. There's a lot of CAROLYN investigations where I say that. It was oh, you're a clever girl, aren't you? Yeah, you got kind of a sharp sense of humor. Yeah, I kind of like you. You're kind of sarcastic. Yeah, I kind of dig it. Yeah, I can figure out. I know a little bit more about your personality right now.
Jokes. I feel like there's a lot of jokes.
Is that true? Would she have been sharp and witty and clever and sarcastic?
I feel like kind of put you in your place, so.
I mean, is that when you talk about Ray Hope, is that something that you could imagine Ray Hope
Sharp
doing?
and witty, I don't know. Ray Hope's not very sarcastic, but Ann was very sarcastic, and Ann was very Clinton-esque. So.
Very, very clever, very clever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, intelligence-wise.
Quick.
Ray Hope and them are very,
Renee, what do you do when you get scared?
I was just gonna tell her, well, I've had a number of things, and 2 times in my life where I've been scared out of my mind, and I quit doing the work.
Yeah.
Because I knew all the rules, I had done the grounding, I had done the shielding, I had done the push things away, and if you still see what you see, you feel what you feel, some lines were crossed, and so when it gets to that point, I just shut it down. So,
Yeah, I think it's good to
But I
take a
think her
break.
question is, how do you shut it down when you feel like you need to,
I'm done. I'm
it's,
done. I'm done with anything related to, I stop all my work.
but when you're in the moment and when those things are bothering you, what do you do to shut it down? Is that what your question is?
Yeah, like,
We
I mean,
talked about that before,
yeah,
too.
because like,
Okay.
that's probably my biggest thing, like, I've always had, since I worked with oncology patients, I've always had the motto that fear is not enough. It's not enough reason to not do something. But like, this one is one where it's like, I'll be honest, like, I'm scared to open that door back up because I don't know how to control it, I don't know how to shut it in, I don't know, you know what I mean, and I don't wanna.
Because you're afraid of what's gonna come through?
Yeah.
Well,
I
setting
think-
those boundaries.
Yeah,
You can
and just
tell
trying to
the
figure
guys
out,
or,
yeah.
whoever you're speaking with, that's
Mhm.
protecting you, that you
Follow your
know this.
instincts.
Because see, like, you guys, like, you're a teacher, what do you do?
Yeah.
I did accounting stuff for
Okay,
a really
I
long
was
time.
In hospice.
You're
if that
counting.
makes you feel better.
And what do you?
But I
I work
did.
at the College of Pharmacy and all the graduate students.
Right.
So,
Trauma nurse, ICU trauma nurse.
Yeah,
COVID
you're gonna
nurse.
experience a lot more.
Like,
yeah.
Because you're picking up on so many people's energies. You're picking
right,
up on
so that's
past
where,
energies,
that's why
current
I'm careful, is
energies.
because when I see death, it's somebody bleeding in front of me. It's
Yeah.
somebody,
It's
you know,
real in the moment
it's-
right now.
it's- Yeah, like, I mean, so, like, that's where I'm
You,
hesitant, sort of like the reason I won't ever do LSD. I've
Right.
seen too much that I don't really
Right.
want to go down
Right.
that road.
That's the conscious.
you know what I mean?
I feel
So
like
it's
it
that-
takes
it's
a toll
that-
on you. Like that's like your everyday.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to be used to it. You can't be emotional about it.
Right.
You're seeing it so often. That's how I felt when I worked at the hospital and I worked with people that died. A lot of my
Yeah.
patients would just die. And I left that career field to go into teaching because I knew if I was around kids, I probably wouldn't be around death that much. You
Right.
know? But like,
Different stressors.
in that sense, when I was working with my hospice patients and mental ward patients and nonverbal patients and things like that, it's like you do get emotionally
Mhm.
attached seeing those things and experiencing it. You're like, yep, this is gonna happen again. This is what it's gonna look like. This is what it's gonna
I'll be
sound
honest,
like.
COVID's rough.
But you will always remember it.
I take it very seriously. This is, ask Ashley, other than like going to the grocery
It
store.
wasn't like it was like the 21st. So
Yeah, on the
this is first
21st,
time
I went to the grocery store so I could make sure that I had enough food for like Christmas, and literally have not left. This is the first time I've left my house since then.
Yeah.
And since then, and even then, the last time was the Nevins anniversary. Unless I need to go out and go to the grocery store or like go pick up food or toilet paper,
Right.
I haven't left my house since a year.
And like some people
A
are
year.
taking COVID seriously. Like we've lost like 4 family members to COVID this year. 2
I'm pretty sure that my
suicide,
kid had
one
COVID in
shooting.
January,
Yeah.
because like the mono test and all the flu tests and everything was coming up negative, but she was sick as a dog. So I'm pretty sure she had it back in January, and then she got a concussion, and then like she hasn't been back to school since she's not been in a school building for a year.
Yeah. So I just, like, I guess that's what I'm saying, is like,
It's
that's
like
where my
setting that
fear
boundary
is,
in
because,
between it.
like, the spirit, like, in the hospital is there.
Oh yeah.
And so
They're
it's
everywhere,
also
so many.
trying to be, like, if I'm not careful and I open too
You don't want to
much-
open it too much.
Right,
And then
like,
you
because I've got all
overwhelm
You're
these
afraid that-
teaching students,
You're
and all of a sudden I've got too many spirits, like, bombarding me,
Your
and
intention will
it's,
help with that too.
yeah,
Your
so,
intention is that you
okay.
don't want to make it so it's a scary
right,
or
like, it's just,
inappropriate.
When you're starting to feel it, say, listen, unless there's something that I can do that's actually gonna help that's actually gonna help the situation right now, you need to back off from me and let me focus on my job.
I feel like it's
And
like,
talk to them like they're 3 years old.
Grace
and
is
just-
pretty good about
lay it
this,
down.
like being direct, like even like earlier, like when you tell her like this is only who we want to talk to, like we will give you a chance. Now's not the time. We will come back and set up something separate, and we will record you, we'll ask.
That's not being
questions
rude, that's
another
like-
time, but that's not our intention today. Our intention for
Because,
this
like,
thing.
Because kind of like I
this.
talked to you, I feel like if you imagine this door, like I feel like, and not that I see them at this point, but like I feel like I have like 30 of them at the door waiting for me to open it because they are just like
Let them wait.
they see that it's coming and they see the potential and they're just like, okay.
I think
And so I'm
too,
just sort of like,
grounding and focusing to make the right environment.
like if that
Understand.
sounds not crazy.
No,
Doesn't sound
understand
crazy to
that
us.
you are the living person with the energy.
Yeah.
You have the power. You have the energy. They are dead. They are waiting. They're not going anywhere. If you don't want to deal with
I
them,
like that.
tell them
Yeah.
that I cannot deal with you right now.
And I can say sometimes in my own personal life, in my.
But with that
when
said,
it's really severe fear, I think, I've given away my power,
Yeah.
not trying to, but having it happen anyway. So if you could just remain cognizant of that and
Yeah.
just hold in that moment to say, no, I'm in control here.
Okay.
You know, it's not okay if you didn't get me to do, you know,
Yeah.
it's- or, you know, draw pictures in your mind to see what you need, you know, put the light out,
Yeah.
put the, whatever it is, I know.
Mental
people do-
images.
Like I even do with like the zipper, you put the
Yeah.
thing down over you and zip it down, like when I go to Walmart, I do that just to go to Walmart and, because it's crazy, so.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm like when it comes to like I am a big one of emotional intelligence and stuff like that, and I am very well. I mean, just working lots of years in trauma, and that kind of stuff. Like
It's okay.
I've got my feet in the most of the time. But yeah, there's just what I'm scared of. Like I said, I'm just scared of the lack of control, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
No,
is
no, no.
Where is that control, and then how do I open the door in a controlled manner as well? Like I've got it really well shut.
Set like
right
that
now. I've got it
intention.
shut.
Tell
Figure out
them.
about time
Tell
and
them.
place and when.
I know that you're all over here. I know that you know that I can see you.
Right.
And I know that I am not ignoring you. I know that you're there and I know you need to talk, but I am not in a headspace where I can deal with you right now. So you need to go away. I will tell you when I'm ready for you.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny when you said like, "Holy cow, there's a bunch,"
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, because they're there all the time.
Now with that said, you have the power to tell them to back off.
Yeah.
And with
You just have to believe that you have the power to be direct and set that
but
out there, even if it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Say
But like a 2-year-old, that's mom. It's okay to say, honey, wait, I'll deal with you when you're done. But then you actually have to deal with them when you're
Right,
done.
right. Yeah,
So say, okay, now I'm finished. I'm calmer. I'm in a place where I can talk to you. One at a time, you can come over and talk to me.
So then
If you start to bombard me, and if I start to feel overwhelmed, I'm gonna make you all go away again. Do you understand me? Is that clear?
I had an instance, I was in Applebee's with my boss at the time, and we were having dinner, and I could feel the energies were surrounding, and there was something going on, and I said, I was gonna get a drink, and I didn't even drink that night because of the whole thing, because I was feeling
Yeah.
it really strong, and they weren't having it, so they appeared behind her, and I said out loud during the middle of the conversation, I go, God damn it, in the middle of Applebee's? I think I said fucking Applebee's. I was like, you know, because I was like,
Yeah,
and I looked
not the
at-
right time, not the right place.
You know.
Know you're there. Can't stay with you right now. I have my life.
You don't have to say it out loud, say it in your head.
I was pissed, but they showed up and they weren't leaving, so they were just standing behind her shoulder, waiting for me to acknowledge them. And I was like, I see you, but I am not talking to you. You need to leave. They stood there for our whole conversation, so I'm looking, so, you know.
Trying to like kind of focus.
So they're behind her, and she's like, oh my God, Renee, what the hell are you looking at? There's somebody standing behind me, like every hair in my body is standing up. I said, you really
Like, yeah, there's like 20 of
she
them.
had no idea, she had no idea about it.
Yeah.
And I said, you really want me to tell you? And she's like, I feel like I'm electrified. She says, you've got to say something. And I said, well, your dead mom and brother are behind you. And she just like lost it. And I didn't know that she was adopted. I didn't know her mom had died and her brother had died. And she's like, well, how do you know it's them? So I just started describing them. So she ensued, because she was asking, then they stayed around.
Yeah.
But the whole time, I was like, no, we're not doing this. No, people
In the restaurant,
I mean,
right.
you know, and I was not one just to go, let's go to Applebee's and have a reading.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that kind of thing is like that's how it happens with Teresa Caputo. But it's been happening with her for so long and she's so comfortable with it. She's like, I'm sorry and I don't mean to bother you, but right now there's a woman behind you. She's got short white hair, she's doing this. She wants me to tell you this. She wants me to tell you this. I'm sorry and I'm not trying to freak you out, but this person will not leave me alone and I need to tell you this. And you can take it for what it's worth and then just go about your business. But I passed along a message that they were insistent, like for whatever reason. There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why they want me to
How did
say.
that not scare you though? To see that? Like, see that, I guess that's where
I feel like because they're just
They're just, are you scared of the person walking down the hallway? They're just people.
What frustrated me was that they weren't listening.
Yeah.
But then at the end, because I'm all about, you know, the message coming across, so that was something she needed to hear, something just happened, and I'm not going, but it was a turning point in her life at that point.
And
She
she needed
she
them.
had to go to the bathroom and had broken down and totally avoided the purpose of our meeting there. But then, I mean, then after that, there was still more messages where her mom would come to me, and I'm like, you have got to, because then she shut down herself. So
Yeah.
then I would try to call her, or I would tell her, you know, this is what, they're still coming to me, and she's like, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's hard,
Well,
because
some
Spirit wants to
people
make a
don't
message,
want to hear
and they
it. Like
don't.
my mom's like one of those people. I'll be sitting and I'll like start getting thoughts about things. So I'll just say, "Hey, mom, like by the way, like I keep seeing yellow roses. Like, did you go visit like your dad's grave or grandpa's grave?" And she'll be like, "How did you know that? How did you know that's the color? That's what I left." I'm like, "I don't know. It's just coming to me." And by the way, he hates that picture frame. And she's like, I was thinking about getting rid of, like, and my mom freaks out about this, so we don't talk about this stuff very often. There's only certain people that I get to talk to about it, because I know that
It's too woo-woo.
they will freak out. But I mean, I even have EVPs with family members, and I'll keep them for myself, and if other people are open to it, but it's almost,
I just have one son. Well,
Is it
one
okay?
son, but the other ones are fine. Like, it's super funny. My son, my 9-year-old said, "Mom, this house is haunted," and Raya, my daughter, goes, "No, it's not. Mom would know. Mom would feel one, you know, or
Right.
something." And I'm like, "No, our house isn't. This house."
well, it's like my brother and my
And
sister-in-law,
that's
same
the
with
thing
them.
Understanding their gifts.
Yeah.
Feeling through and knowing what it is.
When I was telling you, when my 6-year-old was seeing grandma, she's like, "Mom, I'm seeing Mom, I'm scared." And I'm like, "Katie, did Mom ever yell at you? No. Did she ever hit you with things?
And like the
No.
first few
I'm
times
like-
it's scary because you don't know what you're
Yeah.
gonna
It's just
see.
because it's new and it's just like, it's startling. But it's
Right.
like, was Nana nice to you? Well, yeah, Nana loved me." And I said, "Then why do you think that would change just because she's dead now? She's the same person on that side as she is on this side. Were you scared to go over to her house? No, I love going over to her house. She brought me animal crackers and she brought me this." And I'm like, you know what? Maybe she just wants you to see her because she doesn't want you to forget about her. You know what? Let's go to her grave. That's the big thing. She had really bad stomach problems. So she could only eat like really bland food. So there's some days that she would only eat like yogurt and animal cookies. So she always had animal cookies, and my kid was just like, "Well, I can go over to Nana's house and have all the animal cookies I want," because she bought them by the 10-pound bag. So yeah, she'd go over there, and she bought one of those bags. My kid wanted to buy it, and she picked it up off the shelf at the grocery store and made me buy it and put it in her casket. She's buried with a big bag of animal cookies. So that's their thing. So every year on her birthday or death anniversary, we go to the cemetery and we leave her a little bag of animal cookies, and that's how people know that we've been there.
I know. I will tell you, like for
But
me, like when
what-
I see them, I'll see them like how they died-ish, like that way, and that can be kind of it's scary because you're like, oh my god, like one, you don't know the person, 2, they look terrible because of however they, depending on what had happened to them. But then also I feel like being like, no, I want to see like the way that you are, like show me this version of you. I don't want to see that. Like to me, I don't want to see any spirit in that way. I want to see them at like how they were, right? Like, you know, like when people die, like that's super traumatic. I've been with like 3 people in my family, like their last breaths and seeing them that way, and it has horrified me because that's, I don't think
I don't want to
what they
remember
look
you
like
in your
before.
death state. I don't want to remember you how I remember
Smiling,
you.
the color in your face, with your hair and your pretty outfit, whatever. I don't want to see you in a hospital gown with your mouth being open wide, stuff like that. Listening for your last breath, like to me that, sadly I just get to have these memories now. But I'm sure like you've seen a lot of people in a lot of different ways, but just trying to also treat them with respect too. But to me, like when they show me themselves, because like I said, like medicinally, if I can pick up on how you guys in that way, I'm gonna see you that way, and then hopefully after I see you that way and I acknowledge it, you can show me this version.
Right.
And stuff, but like, I think this is probably the only time I ever freaked out my friend, you know about this, when I went to that concentration camp in RENEE. And I was like, hey, let's go up in that building, like there's people up there. And my friend's like, there's nobody up there. And I was like, yes, there is. I'm sitting here, full out. There is a person up there, like me and you. She's not seeing him at all. And it freaked her out. And we couldn't stay at the concentration camp too long because it got to me way too much.
Yeah.
But it was weird because then we actually tried the doors to the building and they were all locked. Like she was really right. There was nobody up there. And I'm sitting here for like 7 solid minutes watching this person walk. And I'm like, there's someone up there. And I was like, oh my God. And then that night I had like crazy, weird, awful nightmares. And she didn't pick up on any of it. And I'm like, I had to stay awake the whole night while you just slept comfortably next to me in this random house. And we spent the whole day here. I'm like, there is a spirit following me and you don't even notice. And I was so terrified. And I'm like, all right, let's get through it.
The problem that Katie has, the problem that Katie has is the same thing, but as a little kid, she's learned how to deal with it now. She couldn't tell if they were real people or if they were ghosts because she can't tell the difference between them. We'd be down at the cemetery, and she's like, she goes, oh Mom, can you look at that lady over there? I said, Katie, there's the only thing over there is a tree.
Right,
There's nothing over there. And then she's like, no, she's wearing a long white dress. Her hair is dark. It's up in a bun. It's sitting on top of her head. She's got really bright green eyes. There's a guy over there. He's wearing kind of like suit and tails. And I'm like a wedding, like a bride and a groom. And she said, they're right over there by that tree. And she's like yelling at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, there's nobody over there. She can see them like they're real people, and she can't tell the difference sometimes. She can't tell.
Yeah, I feel like it's easier. Like I feel like when you're younger, it's kind of scary. Like I slept in my parents' bedroom on their floor in a sleeping bag till I was 13 because they were not seeing the things I was seeing. And nobody, they're like, oh, you're just watching movies and you just got ideas in your head and this and that.
That's where Hollywood.
And in my mind, I was like,
service.
oh my God, I have to sleep with my bedroom door open so I can leave my room because I don't want them doing anything. I don't want them in my closet.
Just because you can see it doesn't mean it's bad. It's not scary just because it's there.
People.
When
so
you
I know
go,
you can psych yourself out.
yeah, when you go to Walmart and you're at the check stand, are you scared of the person that's checking out your stuff? They're just a person.
But I will say I get more stuff in feeling than I do in visions now because I don't like always being able to see it. I'd rather feel it, say what I'm feeling and acknowledge it and move on because I don't want to keep dreaming about other people's lives.
Yeah, it's hard to both of it. That's why I had to shut
Anyway.
I just need one. And then I took a break for a couple of years. I didn't do anything. I think after I was like 14 or 15, I stopped. I wasn't doing or saying anything for years until college again. And I was like, oh, working in the hospital and doing this and doing that.
I was
being around death.
14 and I didn't, after 14, I mean, I'm sure there were some things here and there, but nothing that I really recall. And then, like, as I've gotten older,
Yeah.
like, the empathy stuff has always been there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
feeling people's feelings
Yep.
has always been there.
And that can
but-
be like really overwhelming, which is why people do better in smaller groups.
And learn how to identify what belongs to you and what doesn't, and tell your guides to help you. If this doesn't belong to me, please don't let me feel it because I'm having a hard enough time dealing with my own shit right now and I can't deal with theirs.
And they should be able to respect that
Yeah,
because you have
absolutely.
control.
It'd be nice when students are failing.
It's okay to set boundaries.
Not feel that, like, not my anxiety.
It's okay to set boundaries.
Yeah, so.
It's necessary to, there's nothing rude about setting
I
boundaries.
think you have to in this if you pursue that. I mean,
Yeah.
in any,
It's not even a matter of,
I mean, otherwise, as you know, you're taking on too much as it is.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I kind of, there was a scripture that the pastor read one time, and I really liked it because it talked about, you know, being a vessel to work through,
Yes.
but not a collection to hold. It's like, can't hold the spirit because it would break you. It would break the glass, it would break the jar or whatever.
It's okay to be the one to get messages.
If we were the one for it to go through, then you can continue to, so just interesting, the different thoughts or.
And I always kind of snicker when she just said, so I just decided I just put it away, I just turned it off for a while. It's one of those like, you are who you are, and if you're getting those messages, you're getting those messages. You can't stifle who you are. If this is who you are, if this your DNA makes you this way, putting it aside is just going to do nothing but harm.
But I think there's people that there's people that get like one message.
The light go off in there?
Also a ton of paper towels on the floor when you guys went in there earlier.
No, there was none.
You guys have to come look at this. I walked in and look at this. Let's go look at that paper towel. It's like automatic and I need to stop it. It had been happening between the last time. And I just walked in and it was like that when I walked in. I was like, what the heck? No, I used this one. And I used that one too because I didn't want to disturb that one.
Somebody moving that.
Right? I was like, what the heck?
Clearing the thing.
It's like somebody keeps on walking past it.
Right? Someone's just chilling in the
And
bathroom
setting off the
playing
monitor.
with it.
No, that was not like that.
I'm glad to know. I was like,
Imagine who finds that.
I just love it. I was like, sure, I want you guys to see it.
I mean,
Throw it away. You think it keeps going? Nope.
Keep it. Really. Terrible. Prideful. We talk. That was. Dawn. First stuff. Keep up. Participate. .com. Study. You got. For you and your is it you?